PK, this seems like it could be an abrupt end to a legal saga which, it's been going on for more than a decade.
This is a very big deal and a very significant moment for Australia. Of course, the Australian Parliament has been through many iterations on this issue, but as it stands now, there is enormous support for Julian Assange to be released. Really a bipartisan position, the entire Parliament arguing for his release. And in fact, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has been quite instrumental in these negotiations with the Biden administration in relation to advocating for Julian Assange. So what I can share that, obviously this is a story that's breaking as we talk with this plea deal that looks to have been struck between Julian Assange's legal team and the courts of the United States, which is the precursor to him being released and time served, and of course he has served a lot of time, will be taken into account, which means he would be freed and be able to return to Australia. The government has now responded, and I'll share that response with you, attributable to an Australian government spokesperson. They say, "We are aware Australian citizen Mr Julian Assange has legal proceedings scheduled in the United States." So the government confirming they know that now is on the cards. Given these proceedings are ongoing, it is not appropriate to provide further comment. The Australian government continues to provide consular assistance to Mr Assange. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has been clear Mr Assange's case has dragged on for too long and there is nothing to be gained by his continued incarceration. So the Australian government is, my understanding from talking to several government figures in the last 20 minutes, they are watching this very closely. They have been very much in communication with Julian Assange's legal team about this process. And in fact, the Prime Minister has been, his office has been managing this issue directly, and that politicians have been briefed about where this is now going. You asked me about the history here. Well, the history is long. Julian Assange was first arrested in 2010 in Britain. This is such a long-running saga. He, of course, spent much time in the Ecuadorian embassy, but I do think that the political environment has shifted enormously, and what we have seen in Australia is really this bipartisan position. It wasn't always thus. Calling for this outcome. I think there has been a view that he has served way too much time. There has been a strong case mounted for his release on the basis of course, journalistic freedom and freedom of information, whistleblower protections. All of these arguments have been made. This is a very important moment. And can I just give it some more context, if you don't mind me taking a bit of time, Gemma? There is this election campaign looming in the United States. Yes, yeah. And that is very key here, because there have been concerns in the Australian government and in Julian Assange's team about that looming election. People have been concerned about what a Trump administration might do. Now, of course, Donald Trump did do a recent interview where he did sort of suggest maybe he has changed his view on Julian Assange as well, but there was a sense of urgency around trying to settle this before that November election, and based on these reports coming out of the United States, it looks like that may have happened.